fans. For the first time in over 25 years, it's time to introduce your Knoxville Smokies.
Go Smokies!
Smokies fans, welcome back to the Smokies Baseball Network here on 92.5, 1180 WKCE, or if you're tuning in live on YouTube, we thank you for tuning in. And I'm wearing my KS camo hat today because I'm alongside Jimbo James Cole Schmelzer. So technically the KS are his initials. He pointed that out only midway through the season. It finally clicked for him. I don't know why it was just then, but pretty cool coincidence. Jimbo, how you doing today?
I'm doing all right. I actually really like those hats. I actually just bought that hat about like a week ago, I want to say. I've been trying to collect them all. I wish they'd put more out for me, honestly.
Yeah, we've got a pretty nice hat collection from this season now. This one, the 4th of July hat, the Knoxville Giants hat. There have been plenty. I'm surprised they didn't pull out an all-pink hat for the all-pink night or like a Star Wars hat. I feel like those ones would have gone pretty cool. But we've got plenty nonetheless. You can go check them out at the Goatee Shop at the stadium or at the West Town Mall. And, yeah, fans, we thank you for tuning in to our pilot pregame show. We've got game number 5 action between Trash Pandas and the Smokies. This is the final time the Smokies are taking the trip out to Rocket City this season. And right now, Smokies still fighting for the last spot in the playoffs up in the Southern League North, while the Trash Pandas trying to pull the Smokies down into the pit with them. First pitch tonight's coming up at 7:35. So we'll get into what's going to happen in that game a little bit later. But, Jimbo, wanted to start it off by talking about our big brothers up in Chicago. Cubs already played today, so we get to talk about them here on a Saturday. They had an afternoon game, and it was a W. We saw them lose yesterday against the Pirates today. They picked up the win. It was on the backs of a great Shota Imanaga start. The offense still not where it wants to be, but we saw Kyle Tucker pick up a couple of hits. Pete Crow Armstrong was on base. Michael Busch the same. Matt Shaw continuing his successful second half with another base hit. So, Jimbo, are the Cubs out of it just yet? What are you thinking right now? They picked up the win today, but I'll pull up the standings while you give your analysis right now. 8.5 back in the NL Central.
Nah, the Cubs are most certainly not out of it whatsoever in this. I could see them realistically sitting at a wild card spot right now. They obviously still have a chance to win the division here. Milwaukee, though, they've been on a tear as of late. Obviously, look at the standings right here, the NL wild card. Chicago up 5 games here in this tightly contested battle here. So the Reds pulling through. They're only a half game out. The Cardinals, it's very tight, though, in the National League. But, yeah, the Chicago Cubs, they got the win today, 3-1. Nico Horner got his 20th double of the season, which was outstanding. Seiya Suzuki, another knock for him. He is an outstanding player to watch for the Chicago Cubs. But my favorite, Mr. Andrew Kittredge, with the win here today, goes 3-3 on the year. So, again, Chicago Cubs, great win today. Hopefully looking forward to watching some more Cubs baseball here, and especially down the stretch here as the postseason is about to happen in another month.
Yeah, handful of NL Central teams in the mix. You got the Reds just a half a game back of the final wild card spot. The Cardinals just 3.5 games back with plenty of baseball to play. Arizona Diamondbacks and San Francisco Giants both within reach. And then you see right now where the wild card sits, you've got the Mets and the Cubs, and then the Dodgers and Padres technically knotted up over there in the NL West. The Dodgers have the season tiebreaker against the Padres. So if the season ended today, it would be Mets, Padres, and Cubs there in the wild card spot. So Cubs would have their work cut out for them as the Brewers kind of just running away with the NL Central now. Cubs still solidified in their playoff run. And if you want more analysis, more Cubs talk, you can go and check out Voice of Smokies Baseball, Mick Gillespie's channel, the Cubs Baseball channel, always talking Cubs every single day. But now that we're here on the Smokies baseball channel, we got to get into what's going to happen here in game number 5. So to preview quickly, if you haven't been with us in the first games here in Rocket City, first 2, Smokies were shut out. We'll leave it there. They lost both of the first 2 games. And then on game 3, finally came back to life. The offense scored some runs, and they picked up a W. So the series was in favor of Rocket City 2-1. Then you go into game 4, and Jimbo, why don't you give us a preview?
Yeah, so Smokies, again, they started the series off a little rough, got shut out back-to-back nights, but since then they've actually been doing pretty well for themselves. They won the last 2 games here they won again last night, 7-4. BJ Murray, RBI double to start it out. Obviously, Oscar Colas, he did his little RBI single of his own early into the game. However, you got guys like BJ Murray Jr. and Jalen Palmer with big knocks, and that is essentially what lifted the Knoxville Smokies here today. Again, 7-4 final. They got a nice matchup here on the mound tonight, and hopefully the Smokies can look to, again, continue, especially looking at the standings that we're having here. They're sitting roughly 8.5 back, obviously with a big win. It helps them. Again, they're trying to solidify a chance at the postseason here in another month. So Birmingham, they've been, like I said, they've been tear absolutely on fire this whole second half. And hopefully the Knoxville Smokies, again, they can pull some sort of life here. They can get a miracle and push their ticket, punch it to the postseason here in the Southern League.
Yeah, they're going to need a miracle, like you said. Tommy Romero was real clutch in the W last night, though. 5 innings scoreless out of relief. Of the 3 Knoxville Smokies pitchers that towed the rubber, he was the only one to not allow a run. And 5 bulk innings out of the pen after Nick Dean making another rehab start. They got 3 innings out of him, and the Smokies were down at that point. So Tommy Romero really clutch, able to shut down the Trash Pandas offense for long enough to the Smokies offense to get going. And then you previewed it just a second ago, Jimbo, but we'll talk about the Southern League standings right now. Still, the Smokies not in a good spot, but how does the whole North look?
Yeah, I said Knoxville, they're 8.5 back right now. They jumped back ahead of Chattanooga. Again, for Chattanooga, it doesn't matter whatever. They're even 500 here in the season. Same with the Smokies. Birmingham, they did lose yesterday, so the Smokies gained ground here by a game. Again, Birmingham is at Pensacola, and you got Smokies obviously in Rocket City. And then at the Southern League South standings, we got a tightly contested battle here. Montgomery just sits 2 games back. Columbus Clingstone's 2.5 back, and the Biloxi Shuckers at 4.5 back. So Pensacola, they are leading this thing 23-19 on the season. Again, a nice win for them yet last night, and now they're going to look to capitalize on it and push away from these other teams here in the Southern League South. Again, a very contested battle as the season winds out.
Yeah, it's fun to watch the South right now, and hopefully it keeps Pensacola motivated because we need more help from them in slowing Birmingham down. If they can theoretically take these last couple of games and the Smokies can continue on this winning pace and take these last couple of games in Rocket City, that would push them only 6.5 games back with 3 series left to go. That is that's an amount that the Smokies can say, okay, we have to do as much winning as we can in the next 3 weeks and leave it up to the rest of the league to go ahead and slow down Birmingham. They do have one more series against Birmingham. That's going to be the final week of August and bleeding into September. So that's going to be a really important series as well. But they've got, I believe, yes, the Montgomery Biscuits coming to town next week. So again, all playoff-worthy games, and they need to win as many of them as possible. And trying to help them out tonight on the mound, it'll be Tyler Schlafer. And the report on the righty, he's 3-1 this season with a 3 ERA, and he's just 24 years old. He's up on the top prospect list for the Chicago Cubs, and his last start against Rocket City was actually his Double-A debut on the 4th of July. He went 6 innings, allowing just 1 run and striking out 4 at Covenant Health Park. So this is the first time he's traveling to Rocket City, but he has been very good on the road so far. Just 2 road starts for him in his Smokies tenure. He's 1-1 with a 1.8 ERA in 10 innings pitched, allowed just 2 earned runs. So Smokies going to look for a win on the backs of Tyler Schlafer, and his counterpart tonight is going to be the right-hander Bryce Osmond, just 0-1 with an ERA that is in double digits, Jimbo, what's the report on him?
Yeah, Bryce Osborne, the 24-year-old, is of Tulsa, Oklahoma. He was a 15th round pick by the Los Angeles Angels in 2022. The kid pretty much the entirety of the season. He's been battling injury. He was put on the 60-day IL back on July 8th, and then he was activated on August 6th. But he's only had one start. He made his debut of the season here on August 8th at Columbus. He struggled, though, mightily. Only pitched 2 innings, gave up 3 runs, allowed a home run, and walked a guy. Only had 4 strikeouts, so hopefully the Smokies can attack this guy here tonight, get a very big win, especially with the season winding down.
Yep, like you said, probably not expecting more than about 2 or 3 innings tonight from Osmond in a rehab start. And the Smokies lineup is going to look to tee off against the bullpen for most of the game. And Jimbo, why don't you break down how Lance Reimel is aligning the 1 through 9 here on Saturday?
Yes, so Reimel, the Knoxville Smokies, again, second in the Southern League North, but Reimel's got them lined up like this. We're going to have Brett Bateman leading off at center field, and it's going to be the base Pedro Ramirez. The designated hitter, number 39, Corey Joyce will be batting third. The cleanup hitter, the third baseman, number 7, B.J. Murray Jr. Batting fifth, number 11, Jefferson Rojas. Batting sixth, it's going to be the catcher, Pablo Aliendo. And then the 8-9 will look like this. Right, it's going to be number 6, Jalen Palmer. First base, number 9, Ethan Hearn. And left field, batting ninth, number 25, Andy Garriola, all behind Tyler Schlafer.
Yep, so Andy Garriola getting back into the lineup after a couple of days off. We'll see how he does. Corey Joyce getting a day off of his feet. And B.J. Murray Jr. playing defense for the first time since we saw him with just a little bit of time on the bench, shaking off a wrist injury that he sustained at first base. So we see him on the other side of the diamond at third base, the hot corner tonight, with Ethan Hearn, the catcher, getting some work in at first base while Pablo Aliendo does the catching for Schlafer. So I like the way this lineup is aligned. This is not the first time we've seen Jefferson Rojas down in the 5-hole, and I'm excited to see how his electric bat can fit right into the middle of that lineup. And then fans, can't forget to remind you that this season, Pioneer Comfort and your Knoxville Smokies are hitting home runs for heroes. That means for every home run hit by a Smokies player this season, Pioneer Comfort will donate $100 to the Wounded Warrior Project. And so far this season, these two partners have teamed up to raise $5,600 for the Wounded Warrior Project, with a handful of donations coming this week in Rocket City. We feel like we never get many home donations because it's so hard to hit the ball out of the yard at Covenant Health Park. But whenever we're on the road, it seems like this pot just continues to grow. So let's move it on to our final segment here on our pilot pregame show. Jimbo, our players to watch. These are guys we're keeping our eye on tonight to hopefully impact the Smokies in a positive way. So, Jimbo, who are you keeping your eye on today?
You know, when I was originally looking at the lineup, I was going to say B.J. Murray Jr. once again because that dude is absolutely on a tear. Again, our lead guy for the Pioneer Comfort Wounded Warrior Project, hitting home runs for heroes here. Just knocked his 17th of the year last night. But I'm going to switch it up. I'm going to try to take a little oddball player. Not really an oddball, just someone that I like personally. And that's going to be number 11, Jefferson Rojas. Rojas out of the Dominican Republic here. He struggled this season. However, he is a highly touted prospect here in the Cubs organization. Spent some time earlier this season with South Bend. Last season, he only batted .245 with South Bend with 125 total bases. But this season, again, he struggled a little bit. He's only batting .165. Still waiting for him to get a home run, but he has 12 RBIs. So he's definitely a guy to look out for. This offense, I think he just needs a little time to develop more, but he's a very good prospect. Just 5'11", 150 stands, but he is a highly touted player here in the Cubs organization, and I look forward to seeing him here tonight.
Yeah, if the Cubs are able to, pull him up in the future, it's going to be because that he's showing out at the AA level, and we're still waiting to see it here with Knoxville. So if he's able to really provide a spark throughout these last few series of 2025, who knows? We could be seeing him get launched towards the big leagues in the next couple of years. But I would imagine at the start of 2026, he'll be beginning the year with AA Knoxville. We have yet to see, though. Who knows? Maybe if he starts playing really, really well in the next couple of weeks, he could be a guy who gets some time at AAA because they just want to see how the young guy's going to play at the end of the season. But they have been cautious with him throughout his progression. And, the guy that I'm going to call out, Jimbo, another top prospect, we're talking about Pedro Ramirez. I'm doubling down. I called him out yesterday as my player to watch. Unfortunately, you look at the box score, didn't really impact it. He was 0 for 4. He did score a run, however, but the Smokies won by 3, so not the biggest impact. He's still just got 1 hit in the series. 1 for 12 so far on the road trip. 4 for 23 last week at home. We just need Pedro Ramirez to really pick it up here, because if the Smokies want any chance at coming back here in the second half, it's going to be because Pedro Ramirez is contributing. And right now, that is not the case. I still believe in the bat. It's been a really long season. He's only had 2 days off. How many people can say they've gone, 90 to 100 games with just 2 days off? Not a lot of guys, but Pedro Ramirez is a grinder. I believe that his bat is going to pick up, maybe just feeling that late season fatigue, but we need a strong push from him at the end of the season. And I'm looking forward to watching him and his at-bats tonight back in the lineup. So, Jimbo, any final words before we close out our pilot pregame show?
It's just nice to see the Smokies winning here in this series. Again, they struggled first 2 games, back-to-back shutouts. We mentioned they've won 4 shutouts the whole year, and 2 of them against the Smokies. So this for the Smokies to get on the board again. They put up 7 runs last night. Very good. And they'll look tonight here against, like I said, Bryce Osmond, who he struggled in his first start. Hopefully the Smokies can attack him early here tonight, get the win, and pull another game closer here to the Birmingham Barons.
And with that, fans, can't forget to remind you that as a proud sponsor of the Knoxville Smokies, Pilot is out here to fuel your game day drive with gas, snacks, and more. Pilot, see you out here. And for James, Jimbo, Cole, Schmelzer, however order you want to say it in, whichever name you want to call him, he'll always smile right back at you and wave. But for him and myself, Connor Nelson, signing out for the Smokies Baseball Network, stay tuned right here on 92.5 or 1180 WKCE to catch all 9 innings of Game 5 between Trash Pandas and Smokies with Mick Gillespie on the call tonight. So, fans on the Smokies Baseball Network, we thank you for tuning in for another Pilot pregame show, and we'll catch you next time.
Fans, for the first time in over 25 years, it's time to introduce your Knoxville Smokies.
Go Smokies! Woo! Woo!